Welcome to video lessons at Master IELTS Online. In this video, we're going to learn the marking criteria for IELTS speaking and how to achieve a very good score by each criterion. So your speaking test is graded and marked with a score of 1 to 9 in accordance with the 4 key criteria shown below. They are fluency and coherence, pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. To achieve a good score in speaking, it's very important to perform well by all 4 criteria. So now we're going to understand more about these criteria and how to achieve a good score. Fluency and coherence. So ever wondered what fluency means? Well, it's about your ability to speak at a normal speed without excessive hesitation and restarting of words or phrases. Coherence refers to your speaking being easy to understand. In order to score highly, you need to show willingness to talk at length and develop your topic using linking words and phrases. Avoid pauses and restarts. So the question is, how to do that? There are 3 main factors involved in achieving good fluency and coherence. First, your speaking speed. Second, reducing hesitations. Third, using effective transitions and linking words. So now let's look at the speaking speed. In order to score well, you need to speak at a good speed. Well, this can be challenging when speaking in a foreign language. So if you want to improve your speed, become familiar with the way the test is conducted and the types of questions which are usually asked by the examiner, so that you are able to respond in a quicker way. What is very important is to practice as much as possible. Another factor which could make you lose marks is hesitating. Try to avoid having hesitations in the middle of sentences. If you hesitate in the middle of the sentence, you suggest to the examiner that you are trying to think of the necessary words or grammar to complete the sentence. Hesitations at the start of sentences are not as serious, as they may be a result of trying to think of ideas for your response to the question. So it's better to hesitate at the start of a sentence rather than in the middle of it. Finally, it's very important to use proper transitions and linking phrases. Transitions are words or phrases that suggest a change in direction to the listener. These include phrases like in addition, however, consequently. These words increase coherence because the examiner is able to clearly know that you've changed topic or the direction of the topic you're talking about. To increase your score, use a wide range of those and don't repeat any phrases excessively. Pronunciation. Your grade is influenced by the way you pronounce words, phrases, and also the degree to which you use language features of a native speaker, such as chunking, stress, and intonation. Specific sounds. Many candidates make errors with specific sounds such as th, w, v, r, long vowel sounds like sleep, not slip, and so on. If you think you make these kinds of error, then it's important to correct them before you take the speaking part. Chunking. Chunking is how words are characteristically grouped together in spoken segments. You can think of these as being like clauses or sentences when we write. Between these chunks, you should have pauses at the appropriate places. Think of a comma when speaking as a short pause, and a full stop in a longer pause, including a breath. Each chunk is an idea, and the pauses help the listener to know when you're moving on to a new idea. Look at the example below. Although my job is exhausting, I find it very interesting. So a short pause after the comma makes the listener understand you're moving to a new idea. One of the best ways to improve your chunking is to notice the way native speakers naturally do it. Watching movies is a good way to achieve that. Stress of syllables and words in sentences. Stress has to do with where speakers put the emphasis on particular syllables or words. In English, every word has one of the syllables emphasized more than the others. Below are ways to pronounce the word photograph. Photograph, photographer, and photographic. If you incorrectly stress syllables of words, then it can make it difficult for the listener to understand what you're saying. A lack of stress at the sentence level can make your speech sound flat and make it difficult for the examiner to catch the key point of your sentence. You also need to understand how altering the stress of words in sentences changing the meaning of the sentence. Look at the given example. I didn't say he stole the money means I think someone else stole the money. I didn't say he stole the money means I think he didn't steal the money, maybe he borrowed it. Intonation. As with stress above, if you speak without any intonation, your speech will sound flat and boring to the examiner. Intonation is about how the tone of the voice rises and falls during speech. This intonation needs to be done naturally, or it can have the influence of lowering your score. So if the intonation occurs in the wrong place or in the wrong way, it can lower your mark in pronunciation. For instance, we usually end a statement with a falling tone. A rising tone is often used when asking a question that is expected to result in a yes or a no answer. Below are some examples of using a falling tone in a statement. I usually go to bed late at night. I enjoy watching movies at the cinema. Examples of a rising tone while asking a question. Was the book interesting? Did you sleep well? A good way to improve your intonation is to watch English movies and talk shows and noticing the intonation of native speakers. Vocabulary. In order to score well in lexical resources, you should pay attention to the following points. First, pay attention to using collocations correctly. For example, instead of saying make a conclusion, it's better to say draw a conclusion. Instead of saying have a decision, you should say make a decision. Second, you should control your word endings. Use the correct form of a word such as a noun, verb, or adjective. So the third point is, you should try to show ability to paraphrase, rephrase words. For example, if the examiner asks, do you like sports? Don't say I like sports. Use a different phrase. Say I'm into sports, for example. The fourth point you should focus on is using colloquial language, conversational style language. Let us look at the example of making our sentences more spoken. Instead of saying, I love pizza and I eat it quite often, it's better to say, you know I love pizza and I actually eat it quite often. So using words like, you know, frankly speaking, actually, will make your speaking style sound more natural. So the final point is to show precision with vocabulary by modifying verbs and adjectives with adverbs. For example, instead of saying busy, better to say extremely busy. And nouns with adjectives like magnificent city. Grammar. To get a high score, you need to avoid grammatical errors, such as with articles and prepositions and sentence order, especially when they make your speaking difficult to understand, and also use a variety of sentence types, simple, compound, complex, passive, and so on. Using lots of complex sentences is particularly important. These are sentences that have a dependent and independent clauses. Well, now you know how the examiner is going to assess you, but if you're worried about how to focus on all these points, you shouldn't. With Master IELTS Online, you're going to learn step by step how to score better by all 4 criteria. Besides, your personal IELTS expert will assess your speaking and give comment on what you should focus better. If you like this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Master IELTS Online. Effective preparation for a high score.